NNPC clears air on increase in petrol price and shortage of supply. Banks, insurance firms to generate 22.6 billion naira from ministries, departments and agencies. Fintech Nigeria holds World Fintech Festival, plus Asia Pacific market rise as SoftBank stock soars. Details of these and more on Business Express on the network service of the NTA, and we are reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I'm Leah Kuting Babatunde. Good morning, and we'll begin the business of the day by informing you that the deposit money banks and insurance companies are expected to rake in the sum of 22.6 billion naira in bank charges and insurance premiums from ministries, departments and agencies of the federal government in the year 2022. This is according to data obtained in the 2022 budget proposal of the MDA submitted to the National Assembly for approval. The amount may, however, be higher than the 22.6 billion naira as certain government agencies such as the Nigerian Customs Service, the Central Bank of Nigeria, Nigeria Railway Corporation, Securities and Exchange Commission, Nigerian Communications Commission, and the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission did not include their allocations for bank levies and insurance premiums. A breakdown of the figure shows that the 22.6 billion naira comprised 17.3 billion naira projected for the payment of insurance premiums and 5.3 billion naira for bank charges. The bank charges include fees applicable to bank accounts, including account maintenance fees and electronic transfer charges. Despite the rise in inflation, the Central Bank of Nigeria says it allowed about 2.907 trillion naira currency in circulation in the economy as at end December 2020, compared to the 2.441 trillion naira currency in circulation at end September 2019. The CBN said this in its annual currency operations report for 2020, adding that the currency in circulation increased by 19.06% from September 2019. The growth in a currency in circulation reflected the continued dominance of cash in the economy. The report further explained that the higher denomination banknotes together accounted for 63.47% and 98.08% of the total currency in circulation in terms of volume and value. The volume of lower denomination banknotes, 5 naira, 10 naira, 20 naira and 50 naira accounted for 28.43% of the total currency in circulation and 1.92% in terms of value as at end December 2020. The Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment is working to shore up revenue for the federal government, especially through the expansion of the coverage of weights and measures departments. The Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Mariam Katagu, made the observation when she defended the ministry's 2020 budget before the Senate.
We also have mandates for checking any calibrated material or machine or equipment, like in the filling stations, medical equipment coming in, checking to ensure that these are working according to standards. There's a need for them to extend even to the airport.
We have to adjourn this budget session for you to go and make all the necessary submissions on the IGR and all the intervention fund before we consider the 2022.
The Nigerian Communications Committee has again reaffirmed that the deployment of 5G network is safe for human health. The Executive Vice Chairman of the Commission, Professor Umar Garba Ambata, gave this assurance while defending the Commission's budget of year 2022 before the Joint National Assembly Committee on Communications.
Foreign schools have sent the list of their candidates to us, and we want you to ensure that the contractors are not paid until this is executed.
There's concern of a particular high-risk and extremely damaging malware called Flubot. So maybe you can explain on that so that Nigerians will be assured that their safety is guaranteed.
We are about to auction is perfectly safe. It is not harmful to human beings, and there is no evidence whatsoever, no medical evidence, okay, from the World Health Organization indicating any correlation between this spectrum and the health of students who are using this service.
As part of the key fintech hubs across the globe, the Fintech Association of Nigeria, Fintech NGR, is partnering with the Singapore Fintech Festival, and it is bringing World Fintech Festival WFF again to Nigeria on the 11th of November 2021, tagged Tech Spark 3.0. The festival is expected to be one of the breakout events around the globe, set to take place during the main festival, which in itself holds from the 8th to 12th of November 2021. It is poised to feature a fireside chat session across cloud computing, blockchain, the making of more unicorns in Nigeria, and the newly launched eNaira. And this year, it is set to explore far-reaching changes to the financial services sector, ranging from the potential transformation decentralized finance brings to monetary transactions, pathways to bridging the gap of financial inclusion, new opportunities to build sustainable solutions, new business models, and carving out new careers, all from the lenses of its theme, the impact of Web 3.0 on financial services. To take the conversation further on how Nigeria can leverage emerging technology for digital economy is an e-learning specialist, Oni Anthony. You're welcome to Business Express.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Fantastic. So how is the fintech space this morning? And when we say leveraging technology for digital economy, most people will want to ask, what does that mean?
Very good. Thank you very much. And I'm glad to be here. So I think first of all, we should start from trying to understand what digital economy is really about. Yeah. The World Economic Forum and the G20 defines digital economy as all forms of transaction, including exchange of goods and services that are done across the internet and across all digital platforms. This means that you're taking the traditional economy to the internet. You're digitalizing everything about the economy. So the focus for Nigeria and even the Federal Ministry of Communications and the digital economy is to shift the perception, the focus on the oil and gas industry to a digitalized economy where every single person is now on the internet. You provide the infrastructure, you provide the necessary means to ensure that everybody is carried along. So earlier on, you read about financial inclusion and all of that. Now, in the guidelines that has been laid out, one of the key things that has been emphasized is digital literacy, digital inclusion. So meaning that years back, farmers needed to travel from wherever they are, from the villages to get to the banks to request for a loan, which they would have to come back maybe several weeks later or months later to get an approval, come back again even before the funds is finally dispersed. With the digitalization of the economy, the farmer can stay wherever he is and request for a loan through his mobile device. This is the drive towards ensuring that everything is digitalized with respect to the economy, and it is providing room and an enabling platform to ensure that our economy is robust. The G20 said that there's the possibility for at least an 11.1% increment with respect to digitalization of the economy. So the impact for us in Nigeria is that you are no longer keeping people in their own spaces. You are no longer keeping people, boxing them in places where they cannot make significant impact, where they cannot contribute, but rather you are now providing an enabling platform where jobs are now created, poverty elevation is taken care of with all of this infrastructure that is now being put in place.
So let me just take you up on the infrastructure issue now. We're going to have a lot of catching up to do.
Exactly.
So to say, and of course the space has just been shrinking more and more. We can't. The pace is now faster. So when we're talking about the catching up that we need to do, what exactly are those places we need to catch up with, and what are those tools that we will need to familiarize ourselves with?
So we're looking at saying that there has to be a marriage between the human beings that are going to use this infrastructure. And when we talk about infrastructure, we're talking about your mobile devices, we're talking about the broadband. What is the extent of, how large is the Nigerian space broadband that we have? How many satellites have been deployed to ensure that every single person, wherever you are in Nigeria, gets access to the internet? What drives digital economy is actually the presence of internet. So how many persons actually have a smart device? How many persons actually have access to data? Is data affordable? Can people actually say, look, I just want to quickly dash to buy data? And it is not just about the availability of data. What is the strength of the network providers? Are they epileptic or are they very strong? So it is not just about putting up masts, putting up the satellites, ensuring that the broadband is there. What about the people that are going to use it? How digitally literate are these people to understand that, look, I do not need to travel long distances to be able to carry out a financial transaction? There are lots of fintech companies around that are also bridging that gap, closing that divide, ensuring that they're bringing the banking sector to your doorstep and ensuring that you can close transactions just within a twinkle of an eye. It is not just only within the fintech area, it's also with learning. So COVID-19 has shown us that people do not have to travel long distances to even go and take courses, that you can sit in the comfort of your home and with your infrastructure, your digital infrastructure, your laptop, your mobile device, you can actually complete your course and get certified and even increase your skill. So there's a lot of that. It looks like the space is shrinking, but again, it is about what has happened with the implementation of the policies around the digital economy in Nigeria. Are we actually pushing it? Are we breaking barriers? Are we pushing the frontiers? There are other countries where a lot of things are happening. Remember that when you talk about emerging technologies, you're talking about artificial intelligence, you're talking about your 5G, you're talking about robotics, you're talking about blockchain technology. Recently, the e-Naira just came in, which is part of the blockchain technology, again, in the fintech space, to ensure that financial transactions are carried out with as much ease as possible. Are we leveraging on all of this? What is the challenges? The more it shrinks, the more it affords us the opportunity to leverage on all of these things and to ensure that, yes, that divide, that gap, that shrinking space that is becoming smaller, it's actually a big pool, a blue ocean for the Nigerian space.
Okay, so let's look at the challenges now, and I would want to know if it's going to come up somewhere around this particular one. The issue of trust.
Yeah.
The issue of trust is there. A lot of people are saying, do I really need to leave my money in the bank? Because I do a transaction at point A and I do a transaction at point B, and then after some time I get debited, unauthorized debits, and like the financial institutions will say, we don't have any business with that because perhaps you have given out some information you don't need to give out, or perhaps it is a POS transaction, it's not from the bank. Now, with technology, can we trace any of these points? What are we doing to ensure that if my grandmother in the village says somebody took my money out, the financial institutions can say, this is where your money went to. Can we do that?
Exactly. Very good. Thank you very much. Now, you see, earlier on I had mentioned that part of the whole bouquet of the whole digital economy infrastructure for Nigeria is the aspect of digital literacy. One significant challenge is how much is the Nigerian state doing with respect to digital literacy? How much are the people in Nigeria being educated with respect to the digital economy? There's a lot of, I would rather want to keep my money under the bed than go through the hustle and bustle. But again, the cybersecurity infrastructure also, it's currently being improved. A lot of banks are stepping up their security checkpoints, ensuring that their gateways are more secured than ever, so that even hackers cannot just hack their banking sites, clone them, and then do away with people's money or make away with people's money. So it has gone, banks have gone a step further. Not just the banks, but even the financial institutions have gone a step further to say, look, there is what we call digital footprints. So those digital footprints are various places where you have stepped into on the internet. Now, with enough cyber security experts, the financial institutions can actually trace. So when this money left your grandmother's place, where did it travel to? It is why most banks now say that if you do not carry out an unauthorized transaction, dial so code, we will immediately block it. How many Nigerians actually know that their bank has a USSD code that they can dial?
Exactly.
Put that in.
A lot do not have
There's
that
a lot.
information.
As an e-learning specialist, where we build e-learning courses and all of that, I can tell you for a fact that there's very little engagement with respect to building courses. When you talk about even learning, the first thing people think about is let us get people into the classroom. So you want to transport people from all over the country and put them in a place. There's cost of accommodation, there's cost of feeding. Meanwhile, these people on their smart devices can actually stay wherever they are and just learn. Take a 5-minute course on what is digital economy. Take a 5-minute course on what should I do if I get an unauthorized access on my transaction. What should I do if I misplace my ATM card? What should I do if I'm robbed? There are snippet courses that can just be developed that people can just access on their phones. And these things, you're increasing the digital literacy if you're actually doing that. So there's a lot of focus on the infrastructure being put in place, but how literate are the users, the end users going to be? Are they actually being considered so that you actually have that synergy between the user and the devices that are going to be used?
Okay, so before I let you go, we're having one of the largest youth population in the whole world, in fact projected to be the 3rd largest in a very, very short while. So for a country like Nigeria, which you have also identified that this whole idea of the digital economy is to shift us away from overdependence on oil, how can we harness this in the short run to see that we make the appropriate gains, as you've mentioned, about 11%?
Yes. So very nice question, and I like that it's one of the questions that is within our purview. A very young population that is innovative, that is endearing, that is creative. They just need their creativity and innovation to be channeled to the right sources. The Federal Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy continues to encourage startups, especially startups in the fintech area. They're startups who have built payment platforms, payment gateways. Where are they? Do you just support them to a certain point and then you just let them be? With respect to the ingenuity of this young population, the question is, how much of this population is the federal government actually leveraging on? Where are the stakeholders? Are they bringing the stakeholders to the round table to say, look, our young population, it's almost like they are restive because they are looking for something to do. They are almost using their talents for the wrong purpose.
So we need to rechannel the energies and, of course, rechannel their drive.
Drive back to, you can use your skills to do this for us. Use your skills to do this for us. Create a lot of hubs. And within those hubs, you are training and retraining and until you get your results. Most developed countries will gather people the young population, put them in places and give them projects. At the end of the day, the overall best with such kind of projects is concentrated upon, and that project is expanded for the benefit of the country at large. But we need to also look into that. And like I said, as there's the world that COVID-19 has exposed us to, saying that learning doesn't just have to be classroom alone. Learning can also be online.
Okay, thank you so much, Anthony Oni. He's an e-learning specialist for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Next is Surviving COVID-19 series that's put together by Musa Abubakar.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
My name is Ogbefi Chinyere. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a woman that deals with this fabric called women clothing. I do business as a hobby and as a career. It affected us so much. If not for the grace of God, it affected us. But at that time, nobody was talking about anything about Texas. We are all looking for, daily survival or how to put food on our table. Nobody was talking about this Texas at all. It was just the grace of God.
Okay. Well, it affected business?
It affected the business so much. I would not even be able to come out of it, but God is helping us. Well, we thank God. Things has been still hard, but we thank God because we are able to. One thing it affected us, and we no more go for higher level of higher grade of Texas. We go for casuals because people are no more going to functions and all that. They only want to change their wardrobe based on, especially the civil servants. They just want to kind of interchange their material. Of course, at that time they were saying that they will give us an intervention loan, which were all applied, but our system. We couldn't see any, but I heard that some people got, but personally I didn't. But I applied for COVID-19 through so many angles and nothing was. It would have really boost my business if not for another thing. All this money I lost during the COVID-19 will help me to enhance the business the more, and I would have added more. Right, and now we are struggling with too many things. People walked in and they are looking for one or two consignments, and because we don't have enough, we are not able to supply them.
Gold steadies as soft dollar offsets stable U.S. bond yields. Nigerian stocks hit a new milestone on Monday as investors scrambled for the shares of the country's biggest telecommunications companies, MTN Nigeria and Airtel Africa, pushing the gauges to near 4-year highs. The two operators on Friday announced receipt of a tentative nod of the Central Bank of Nigeria to start a payment service. Experts say the feat will bolster Nigerian exchanges' capacity to close the year with another positive return after yielding 50% in the year 2020. The peak level is the highest since February 2018. Let's move now to the global markets.
Asian shares are mixed on Tuesday as markets are boosted by the weekend passage of a long-delayed $1 trillion U.S. infrastructure bill. Japan's broader Nikkei 225 dipped 0.75%, while the Topix index traded 0.65% lower. Mainland Chinese stocks were mixed, with the Shanghai Composite slipping fractionally, while Hong Kong Hang Seng Index declined around 0.22%. European stocks are expected to open lower on Tuesday, ahead of a key reading of U.S. inflation data. The UK's FTSE Index is seen opening 28 points lower at 7,300. Germany's DAX 53 points lower. CAC 40 of France is opening lower by 30 points. Investors are looking ahead to fresh inflation readings in the U.S. in the next few days, with the latest producer price index due Tuesday, while figures are yet to come in this Tuesday morning. Stocks in Africa were mixed during Monday's trade, boosted by strength in Nigerian stocks, which recorded gains of about 3%, led by the financial services industry activities. The markets are expected to remain resilient throughout the week. Boss Deebo, Business Express.
And that's the size of it this morning. Business Express returns tomorrow. I'm the Ekating Babatunde. Be safe out there.